Running for fun explained a lot of what was wrong with both of those assholes. I would saw off my left pinky toe for a crumb of world building at this point. And then she slaps him with her power, and he says, "Did you just witch slap me? We need to travel in a group whenever possible." They abandon this plan immediately. I feel like a child left behind because I understand nothing. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're talking about Spellcaster by Jamin something. And this, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, is going to be a rant because this book was so bad, I almost flushed my phone down an airplane toilet just to be free of it. This is about witches, but not in a cool and fun way. It's about a witch named Paisley who goes to witch college, and her family has a blood feud with another magical family who, surprise, has a hot warlock son who she thinks is going to kill her. And then what happens? Well, not a whole lot in a book that feels too long and too short at the same time. Our main character, Paisley, comes from a large family with a lot of siblings in Washington, but she is going to college, witch college, in New York, where her father is a professor and her siblings are also in attendance. I think she has like 4 or 5 siblings. I don't know. Yeah, I did read it, but you're gonna understand why. I'm gonna try to explain why a lot of this just goes in one ear and out the other. So this witch college that she's going to is in New York, and as I said, she's from Spokane, Washington, so they don't fly in on brooms to witch college, they portal there. And the portals, I guess, are only used by witches and warlocks, and somehow the human-run US government, or at least I assume it's run by humans, aren't trying to take advantage and be in control of such a handy thing, which, yeah, sure, that sure sounds like the US government. This book makes no sense. It sure would be handy to portal ourselves around the United States. I, for one, just got stuck in a 17-hour traveling day a week ago, which was a nightmare. I really could have used a portal then. You can't portal yourself to places, but you can easily portal your groceries right to your door with today's sponsor, Thrive Market. Being a stay-at-home mom and working from home is a job. Both of those are jobs, and I do have very limited time for grocery shopping. Thrive makes it so much easier and healthier for me. It's my #1 destination for healthy and affordable groceries right to my doorstep. It's so simple to use and helps you to easily curate your shopping list in just a few clicks, so you can filter out by what your dietary needs are. So if you need to eat gluten-free, or you need to eat higher protein or keto, or you need to eat lower calories, you can filter your products based on those things. And it saves me a lot of time because I have 2 different kids, and so in the grocery store, if I am looking for something, I have to go through each aisle and try to find the things suited to their specific needs. I wish I could just filter out the grocery store, but I can't. I can, however, filter on Thrive. But it also helps me skip the other things I don't like about the grocery store, like waiting in lines. Now I don't have to wait, and I get good, reliable groceries, and Thrive even has free shipping in orders over $49. I got such a good box, and I was really excited to get this in the mail. Some of the things I cannot find locally. They have the Lesser Evil hot chocolate popcorn on there, and I'm a huge fan of Lesser Evil products. I buy them for me, I buy them for my kids, and I can't find the hot chocolate popcorn anywhere locally. It is a gift to humanity, and Thrive has it. I also love the face wash I've been buying through Thrive, although airport security did just steal it from me, so I'm gonna have to get another bottle in my next box. Rest in peace. I get snacks for the kids, snacks for myself. I really like the pickles that they have on Thrive Market. I am a pickle snob, and I really like the ones from Thrive. I always forget how good these are until I take a bite, and then I'm like, oh, that's why I like these ones. I also buy cleaning supplies through Thrive for the house because there's a lot of brands that have really harsh smells, and the ones that I buy through Thrive have really light, like lemon and eucalyptus scented products that are not super harsh and overpowering, and that smell issue can trigger a migraine for me, so I like lighter scented things, and Thrive Market has that. I am so obsessed with Thrive. Grocery orders like this have made my life so much easier. It's so much easier to pack lunches for myself and Carlos and the kids and not have to worry about running out of cleaning supplies, like basic cleaning necessities, because Thrive just delivers it to my doorstep. And they also help me find new products that I don't know about and haven't tried before, which is how I found that face wash that I've fallen in love with. with. Click the link in my description box or go to thrivemarket.com/readswithrachel to receive 30% off your first order and a free gift when you join Thrive Market today. That's thrivemarket.com/readswithrachel. That link is down below, and thank you so much to Thrive for sponsoring today's video. So we're gonna start with me giving you what the Goodreads synopsis says. Hold on, I need to chug some Monster in order to get this done. Co-host, help me. Lend me your paw. Artemis isn't helping today. You're not helping at all. She's mad at me because I went to New York for a week. All right, I'm gonna give you a synopsis and then we're gonna breeze through the beginning chunk of this book rather than going through like verbatim. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about what happens in the beginning because that'll be fastest. There's so much of this. There's so much of this book that is excess. It's not a very long book. Like it's not like a 500-page fantasy. I think it's only like 350 pages. And yet, some of you may be asking, why did you read this? It is because, first of all, my audience asked me to, and second of all, I got a free advanced listener copy through the Libro FM Influencer Readers Program. And I did think it sounded interesting, and I thought the cover was quite beautiful. Unfortunately, it was bad from page 1. When my magic bloomed at 22, the last thing I expected was to receive an acceptance letter to the most prestigious witch college in the world. It's not that I don't have magic, it's just unpredictable. But with Weatherstone a part of my family legacy, I'm determined to live up to their expectations. A task that's almost derailed on my very first day when I come face to face with Logan Kingston, the son of my father's enemy. I've warned to avoid the powerful spellcaster at all costs, but apparently Logan did not receive the same memo. The more time I spend around him, the more I crave his unsettling attention, and as hate flirts with obsession, I'm left wondering if there's another side to the decades-old feud between our fathers. On top of that, Weatherstone is not at all like I expected. Built on the ancient blood of necromancers and battle, the magic here is as unpredictable as mine, and I sense a dark energy stalking my footsteps. When a monster attacks me, I have no choice but to turn to the strongest warlock in our school, Logan. After all, to fight a monster, I'll need a monster. I need a monster. So the way that this opens is she's running through the hall. It's like a flash forward kind of moment. She's running through the halls of her school away from a monster and into the arms of her enemy, who was never really her enemy. He never did anything to her. It's just her dad and his dad don't like each other, and there's a blood feud or blood pact or something, and so her dad thinks that Logan is going to kill her. It's kind of like Fourth Wing, except just like Fourth Wing. Nope. Yeah, it's like Fourth Wing, except Zayden in this case is not part of a revolution. So after we flash forward to her running into the arms of Logan away from a monster, to fight a monster, I need a monster, even though he's never done anything monstrous, so I don't know why we're saying that. It's like saying I need a monster and then drinking a Red Bull. What are we doing? That's not a monster. It's disgusting. I'm sorry, I'm not a Red Bull girly. It's this or nothing. I was in New York with Natalie, and she was so sick of my need to drink 2 of these a day. Do you know how hard it is to find Rehab Monster and green tea flavor in New York City? It's really fucking hard. I found it in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee and couldn't find it anywhere in New York City. And like this is a tangent, I'm sorry. I will drink the lemon one. I will drink the peach one. It used to be my favorite. I'll drink the strawberry one. I'll drink the wild berry one. But this is elite. I get it ordered to my house. You know what I don't get ordered to my house? Red Bull. And I definitely don't say, I need a monster and then drink a Red Bull. Okay, so she's gonna be going to college. Her siblings are all there. She has a big family. Her mom lives back in Washington full-time. Her dad, I guess, portals between New York and Washington constantly. I don't know what the dynamic is between humans and witches. And I didn't know much about it until the end when it sort of gets brought up. But even then, my understanding of this world, this version of our world, is low. It just feels like we did whatever we needed to in order to get to where we wanted to be, which in the end ended up being nowhere. I don't understand how an editor, like a developmental one, thought that this was a finished product. In this particular case, I just don't get that because we didn't do anything. Like, this ends on not even a cliffhanger, just on the setup. We'll get there. So and again, a lot of this is like, what do you mean by that? And doesn't get explained. In high concentrated witch areas, apparently, well, what it says is powerful magic usually caused glitches in computers and phone, So for the most part, the witch colleges had minimal technology. Now, I don't understand this. What powerful magic are we talking? Are we talking about the land? Are we talking about a lot of witches convening at once? What do we mean by powerful magic? I don't know. All I know, and I don't think that the author knows either. I think that this was just an easy way to ensure that we didn't have phones, so we couldn't just text each other questions, and instead we had to wait to have conversations. And then by the time we finally have the conversation, it's the end of the book and we don't finish the conversation. Like it was just a shortcut to, why is it that I can't answer these questions? I know, take away their phones. Why do we take away their phones? The magic is powerful. What? So she has a lot of siblings. There's all different types of magics. Her siblings have all kinds of magic. Her magic has not really manifested yet. Also, witches crave having sex randomly. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Most witches end up moving to parts of the country where their coven that they're accepted into is. And I found out towards the end that they have to pay coven fees every year. Now, again, what is the dynamic of like a witch with no coven? What does that look like? How do they like move throughout the world? What's their relationship with humans? I don't really know. Like, you're gonna have a lot of questions, and hold my hand, we're in this together. I also have a lot of questions and they're not answered. But if you're wondering if our main character, Paisley Hallistar, is attractive or not, don't worry, because in chapter 2 we get told, compared to my siblings, I was no more attractive than the average witch. Wow, thank you so much. This isn't world building, this is fucking dumb. She goes to school, she portals to New York, she gets into school. When she gets there, come to find out, the guy that is the son of her father's ex-best friend, who's like a powerful, I think Italian guy, but his last name is Kingston. Don't ask questions, it all falls apart. This is traditionally published, by the way, in case you were wondering. Yeah. The guy is there, and he's actually going to be both a student and a teacher. Of course he is, because he's a spellcaster, and that's the extra special kind of witch/warlock. And her dad is like, that guy will try to kill you because there's a blood feud. And he says that her mom, Paisley's mom, had like an outburst of magic accidentally when Paisley was 4. And something happened that killed Logan's mom. So Logan Kingston's mom, like his mom and her mom were best friends. His dad and her dad were best friends. And then his mom died because of something to do with her mom that her dad says was an accident. And Logan's dad blames Paisley's mom and has a blood feud with Paisley's dad. And now suddenly Logan has transferred into the college and Paisley's dad is like, don't let him near you. You shouldn't even be here. It's so, sorry. I haven't done my lower voices in a week, so I'm still working on them again. You shouldn't even be here, Paisley. You need to go home. It's so unsafe. Paisley's like, no, I want to go to college with my bros. Literally, because her brothers are at this college. She has some sisters too. I don't know. There's so many fucking siblings, I forget. She makes a bunch of friends, all of which I cannot differentiate one from the other, except one is like a reader and the other has a sketchy dad. Nothing comes of the sketchy dad in this book. Apparently we're supposed to wait until the next book. The ending of this, I was in an airplane bathroom, and I'm not joking. I was peeing when I finished this and I was like, that's it? This is bullshit! This, as I said, has her and her siblings attending the same college, and we harp on the fact that she has siblings over and over again, despite the fact that I barely know these people. It just says things like, sibling bonds are so strong, I'm so glad we were raised together. I'm gonna be so sad when we're all split apart and we're not all at home together. Siblings' rules are, no one's allowed to touch my sibling except for me, because that's my right as a sibling. It's all very, very silly and shallow. Also, Paisley is like 22, but there's something called witch wine that is stronger than the normal wine, or because witches have a different metabolism, it like hits harder, but you're not supposed to drink it until 26. So instead of just making this like normal college age, we aged up to like 22, and then they're like, but you still can't drink, so make witch wine. It's something that you drink at 26. I don't know. She's trying to find her magical affinity. Can you guess? She's gonna be a spellcaster. Whoop-a-dee-doo! But she doesn't know that yet. All she knows is her magic is like tampered down. She's not really sure what her affinity is. Her siblings all have these different affinities for like animals and fire and water, and her dad has fire magic, and her mom is an accountant. That's not magical. That's just her mom's job. Wait, I don't fucking know. So while she's trying to learn her water affinity, she's in a lake, and she gets attacked by a monster inside the lake. And who saves her? Logan does. Oh my God, it's almost as if he's not there to kill her. Who could have predicted this? She then goes to a party and she harps on how she's so close to her friends now. And I'm like, I don't fucking know these people. Let's not play pretend. Just because you say it's a thing does not mean that the reader actually believes you. But then there's like an explosion at this party and then she gets jumped by some dude, this wind witch, who's trying to kill her and says she's a distraction. She ends up in a graveyard. They don't know who attacked her. She's beat up with bruised ribs. They find out that it was a guy named, I think, Walter. It doesn't matter. He never comes on page again. Her family is very protective of her, of course, her many, many siblings, and her brother's like, we should take shifts watching her. She goes and talks to Logan, the hot guy who's supposed to hate her, and he's like, Walter got expelled and he wasn't my friend and this has nothing to do with me. And then, as she's getting better, she has Spellcaster class with Lucas, hot guy. And they're like arguing about the Walter thing, and Walter, she thinks is his friend and he attacked her on behalf of Logan. She's like, that was your bro. It just reminds me of Zoolander.
And I'm not your bro.
He keeps calling her Precious, which reminds me of Gollum.
Precious.
She asks, why are you calling me Precious? And he's like, oh, you don't remember? Precious gem. And then he says, I know everything about you, Paisley. Stop. Reverse. Head out. Cut it out. If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead, he says. And then she slaps him with her power. And he says, did you just witch slap me? Artemis, are you hearing this? Pay attention. It's co-host time. Did you just witch slap me? Are we 15? Oh my God, you're so cute. Ugh, this is so annoying. I have to show the people. Look at the baby. I'm gonna eat you. And this isn't the only like childish thing in here. A lot of it is just, it sounds so childish and silly and stupid. Like in a conversation with her friend early on, they're always talking about food and like getting food for breakfast. I don't know what the fuck they do in classes, but they're always getting food for breakfast. And at one point, one of them says, not liking chocolate milk is the first sign that you're a sociopath. Okay. Her other friend is a reader. Yay! I was one of those once, and then I read this book. She borrows her friend's e-reader, which I don't know how that works with the no technology thing. I don't know. Don't ask me. She talks to her friend. She's like, yeah, I'm not much of a reader, but I'll read. I know you're a voracious reader. They don't talk about what the book's about. They just talk about release dates of like the second one. They're like, oh no, I can't wait until the next book is out. Like this just feels like so weird. And also when they talk about a book ending on a cliffhanger, they said it ends on a cliffy. And when I asked my Discord about this, they were like, oh, is the author Australian? And so I looked it up and the author is Australian. And then I was confused because if the author is Australian, then why are we sitting this in the United States? And we don't bring up how the United States politics would not make sense with witches because the United States sucks. Anyways, she has not gotten laid, and apparently you have to do that as a witch, otherwise you don't feel your best or something. One of her friends is sleeping with two people, like simultaneously. She had two sex partners, and I was just over here with dreams and sadness. I knew which one of us was living her best life. Love you, bestie, she said, hugging an arm around my shoulders. I couldn't do this college life without you. Ah! What? I'm sorry, Artemis. What are we doing? This is so juvenile. She starts to feel like a creepy feeling, and a student gets attacked and murdered by a monster. She starts to feel like she's being stalked. Logan is the one that killed the monster, but of course she's still suspicious of him for no reason, even though he's never done anything to her. He's just the son of a guy who hates her dad. So, you know, fourth wing. Any progress on figuring out the creepy feeling, her friend asks? No progress. It's just so random. I can't find a single pattern. What if you do have a stalker? It could even be a tracking spell. One of her friend says, oh, it's probably about your magic and how it's locked away. You showed an aptitude for necromancy. Maybe that could be the creepy feeling when it's not, you know, fully developed. My aptitude for necro wasn't strong enough for an affinity, but there was a vibe. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what we're doing. And instead of explaining it, we hear more about the food that her and her friends are eating. Sarah and I needed coffee to function as civil witches, while Belle generally got chai and Haley enjoyed chocolate milk. Because I'm still mostly 12 with my food choices, she explained. That's great. That's so great. I'm so happy to hear that. One of them is a vegetarian, Except no, she's not, because she says, I'm a vegetarian with mistresses when she eats literal meat. That's great. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. This is just stupid. We're not even doing anything. And this cover promises like dark and unsettling, and instead we're doing, if you don't like chocolate milk, you're a sociopath. Stop. First of all, stop using sociopath like that, but also just stop it. It's not funny. And of course, all the other guys are not as good and hot as Logan. So she can't find anybody to bone, even though she'd attempted to get laid on 3 separate occasions. And one guy, whose name was Lewis, said, Lewis is ready for some fucking, and that, turned her off, which fair enough. It's just, I hate when we set up this thing where it's like, no other guy could be as hot as this guy who hates me and wants me dead. Stop. She's talking to her friend, and she says, she's talking to her about books again, and her friend is like, come on, yell at me about the Cliffy as we walk. They are learning about magic, but to what end? Because it says some spells were more specific, such as the Lingher Trastoria, which was literally used to ward off an attack from ants. Yep. Apparently, if ants banded together, they'd destroy every living thing on Earth. Who knew? I knew in elementary school. I wrote an essay on this in elementary school, actually. I knew. I got a C on it. It wasn't very good, but I did know. More magical stuff gets brought up that I don't understand. I found my energy expanding as I sought to touch the veils of existence. I don't know what that is. Her magic apparently is too weak to have a true affinity. Apparently you have to have strong magic or fully come into your magic in order to have a specific affinity like fire or necromancy. God, I wish we had done necromancy. That would have been so fucking fun. I love dead bodies. Oh, nope, phrasing. I'm always thinking about you. Gideon the Ninth. Some of the sentences here are just ridiculous. Like, the tingles of my energy were stronger than usual. We couldn't have found a different way to say that. They apparently worship a moon goddess named Selene, and when they have their period, it's supposed to be like them communing with Selene, but this only gets brought up once. I'd been so exhausted and stressed out with classes, I'd forgotten the cycle. It was sacrilege not to know when we should be communing with Selene. Then I guess the book is sacrilegious because this never comes up again. It's not important. None of this is important. That's what's so annoying about this. Logan has a friend named Noah, who is also a stoic, broody guy. Maybe he'll get a love interest in future books, and then we'll have to sit through that nonsense. And one day, she says, Logan and Noah were in the middle of their evening run. Running for fun explained a lot of what was wrong with both of those assholes. I would saw off my left pinky toe for a crumb of world building at this point. At this point, her dad is like, well, I'm just glad he's not interested in you because maybe that means he doesn't want to kill you. But Logan has other people interested in him, and this makes Paisley jealous when other witches are like, oh my god, hey cutie pie. And she's not sure why she's upset about this. The instant fury made no sense. Correct! That's correct. Thank you. And then she sees another monster, like the one who killed the other student. It has 2 huge clawed hands, and I think they all have like a head like an alligator. So it's just giant alligator weird monsters crawling about her school. She also relies on crystals for comfort. I don't really know what they do, but she really likes them. I don't know. Oh, also hell is spelled with a capital H and 1 L in this book. Why? I don't know. Don't ask me. I just work here. So she thinks that the monsters are coming after her specifically. I got through my classes in a daze trying to figure out who hated me enough to dabble in dark magic and create monsters. Logan was the obvious choice. Why? He is literally just a guy. He is just standing there being broody and having tattoos, and he's called you precious like 30-11 times.
What's dated, precious?
Nothing has happened. There is no evidence of this. And yet here we are. This is like when I make up in my head that somebody doesn't like me. Well, why do you think they don't like you? I don't know, okay? I don't know. That's good enough in real life when I'm being ridiculous. It's not good enough for a story, for a main character. The obvious choice was Logan. Why? Why? Riddle me this. So instead of going towards safety from somebody else when she's being, chased by a monster, she runs directly to Logan himself. Sure thing. Precious, why are you sprinting like you're being chased? You don't already know? His touch confused and destroyed me in equal measures. His touch destroyed you? What? Maybe I was actually losing my mind. Oh, girl, same. You're just as fucking weird as you were as a child. You're making less sense than usual, Paisley. Are you injured? Did you hit your head? I don't have to injure myself when there's someone else out there ensuring it happens. He didn't say... he didn't say you hit your head on purpose. You know what? Never mind. Who injured you? She's like, I don't know. Maybe it was Walter. Walter was taken care of long ago. She's like, maybe Noah. If Noah wanted to hurt you, you'd be in much less pristine condition. So I repeat, precious, who the fuck hurt you? Oh, it's who did this to you in a different font. Cute, 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 cute. The way he said Walter was taken care of settled uneasily in my chest. You got rid of Walter? Did he end up in prison? He's missing. No one's seen him in weeks. Oh, gee, I wonder what happened to him. Oh, what a shame. We're all broken up about it. So then there's a creature in like the, I don't know, dorm hallways or some shit. A creature filled the hallway, squished down by the ceiling as it jabbed claws in front of it. What? As it jabbed claws in front of it. In front of itself? Squished down by the ceiling. Oh, not literally squished, like not fitting, not tall enough to hit the ceiling. What a way to write that sentence. At first glance, it looked like an armored praying mantis. Oh, so some of them look like a praying mantis. An armored praying mantis? Praying mantis already have a shell. What are we doing? It was grappling with a warlock in the hallway. The relentless screams came from a group of witches who were using elements and other magic to try to knock the beast off a warlock. So elements and other magic, I don't know what it means by other magic. I still have no comprehension of what the magic is in this book. Oh, this is where that one warlock died. Oh, I got mixed up in my notes. Okay, so this is where a student died. He gets like torn in two by this armored praying mantis or something. Logan's like, everyone get down. And he and the monster both disappear. The creature's gone. Logan took care of it. Now everybody's like, all right, what's the school gonna do? What are we gonna do about safety? Also, how did the creature get into the building? She's like, yeah, or what the hell, 1L, it even was. One of her friends is like, okay, so the dark energy that Paisley's been feeling on campus is because someone is creating monsters here. She's been telling us this for weeks. We keep dismissing it and saying that it's her unpredictable power or her imagination. And now somebody's dead. So we need to help her research. Their research is fuck all. Of course it is. It can't be Logan, right? Some girl named Sarah says. I don't know, I can't differentiate between the friends. They're all the same to me. I know one reads. He's the most confusing, infuriating, frustrating, and gorgeous, one of her friends says. So sure, there's a chance that he could be behind it all, she says. And these heroic little moments are just building up trust until he levels the college or murders me. He's here for a reason. No one just transfers in their third year. Yeah, he's a third year. She's a first year. And he's also a professor, sort of. So her friend Belle is deep diving into defensive magic. We need more power than you had last night. We need the full shebang. There are spells that can manifest creatures, but they're mostly built on dark magic, so somebody would need to be using dark magic, whatever that means. I don't know, in order to create the monsters, which I felt like went without saying, but okay. Haley was our book nerd and tech girl. In the outside world, she loved a game, and she spent years building up her worlds in role-playing games. Here, though, in the world of magic, that part of her life was left behind. Oh no, I feel like a child left behind because I understand nothing. I don't know why technology doesn't work in the schools. I mean, it's not that it couldn't work. You could write a reasonable explanation, like when a certain amount of witches and warlocks convene, the power is too strong because and such. But then you'd have to question like, okay, how does this affect other parts of the world where witches and warlocks convene? How do they get around this? You know, what if there's a conference and like, what are we doing? Instead, we're just like, yeah, no phones because there's powerfulness. What? We're working under the theory that the monster in the hall was after Paisley, right? She's had too many close encounters with these creatures to be a mere coincidence. You were alone in the graveyard when they attacked, and last night, if the hall hadn't been filled with students, they would have gotten to you much quicker. We need to travel in a group whenever possible. They abandoned this plan immediately. Did you remember she had a bunch of siblings? Don't worry, I forgot to. One of them, her name is Jenna. They're all hoping to get placed with the coven, get accepted by the same coven that their parents are a part of, which is called Blessed Souls. What do covens do exactly? I don't know. Stop asking questions. I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that if you want to have fun today, stop asking me questions that the book isn't going to answer, so neither can I. So her sister is applying to Blessed Souls, but also Ancient Mages of America, the Sisters of the Moon, and Sprites of Spokane. So this is when she starts thinking about how she really wants the family to stick together, which I don't understand why this is important to her, because if you have portals, can't you portal anywhere, anytime? And also, are the portals unregulated, or is it like TSA? What are we doing? So I don't even know why it matters to her whether or not her siblings are in Spokane or not, because you could literally just portal together you could have dinner every night. One of her sisters has a bear named Morris. It's not relevant. I just thought I should tell you because it's in the book. Anyways, So they start to believe that she might be a spellcaster, which is again like the, I don't know, most powerful kind of spell magic person. I need more monster immediately to talk about these monsters. I don't need a monster. They also are like, you couldn't be a spellcaster because you have a small penchant for necromancy, which spellcasters can't do. Why? Who's to say? Not the book. But we do find out that they can visit family this weekend because it's the Festival of the Moon Goddess holiday weekend and they get Friday off. Huzzah! What are they going to do for Festival of the Moon Goddess weekend? Go home and eat sushi. They go and visit family. Dad had opened our transport not 20 minutes ago. So can anybody open a transport, or is it certain witches who do that? Again, is it regulated? Like, if you were a witch doing crime, couldn't you just portal away and get away with anything? Just infinite portals? I don't know. She starts to think about how her siblings, you know, when they have kids, they're going to want to like see each other and the way that they always were together growing up. And I'm like, again, the portals are there. Your dad can open them so you guys can see each other constantly. I mean, you could just like at any time have your dad open a portal and you could use your sister's bathroom to pee. Like nothing is stopping you. But we just harp on this. I really hope we can stay together. I love when my family's together. Oh yeah, and then we go to her mother's house for the long weekend and her mother makes food. Her salmon sushi made completely from scratch was the meal I'd request for my last dinner on Earth. A moment, please. Her salmon sushi made completely from scratch. What other way is there? Sorry, Artemis. There is no other way to make sushi than from scratch. There's no such thing as a box of sushi mix that you pour and you just add water. Ta-da! There's no such thing. There is no alternative. You don't need to say made from scratch because it's implied because there's no such thing as instant sushi. It's not like we're saying like, well, maybe she does, like not only is there no such thing as sushi from scratch, but the fact that we said her salmon sushi means it didn't come from elsewhere. Her salmon sushi is the one that her mom made. So therefore, it's not like we're talking about store-made sushi, which is certainly more instant than making it yourself, but instant sushi doesn't exist. And saying her salmon sushi, I understand that it's made completely from scratch because she made it and there's no such thing as instant. What are we doing? Also, I love salmon sushi, so I think that just bothered me on a personal level. Again, she's harping on the fact that the moments of her family being together are fleeting. And I'm like, but they're not because you have portals. These moments might be coming to an end for us as a family of 6, but eventually we find new traditions. You have portals. You can be together at any time. I don't know. What are we doing? We like reinforce this. My family's so strong. My family's always been together. My family. And yet I don't know these people. And also just saying it is not a substitute for doing it. You have to do that on the page in a way that feels organic without saying, this is the part where she shows she loves her family. Did you catch it? Stop. And also you have to make it make sense. Like I would understand her being like, the moments of my family getting together are fleeting if you didn't have portals. And it's not enough to just say, we ate everything mom put it in front of us and we chatted about our lives. Okay, can you give me more information on that? Because I don't know. I barely even know our main character. Later, at like 90% into the book, she goes, as a former derby girl, maybe I could get a job at the roller rink. When the fuck were you a derby girl? And I checked and it never got brought up before then. I'm starting to get angry. God, I think I need to eat something. So she asked her dad, are there any news about the monsters and the attack? Like, is this, what are they going to do? And he says that they're investigating and they're thinking about putting a blanket of energy over the school, locking down any magic that's stronger than level 2. What are the levels? I don't know. But that would also inhibit their ability to track whoever created that monster in the first place. So for now, we're in a holding pattern. How would they track who created the monster in the first place? Also don't know. And also, they can't be using their affinity to create monsters because there is no affinity that would create that. And her family's like, okay, maybe we need to be checking the library to see who touched books about dark magic because maybe somebody used a dark magic book in order to create a monster. And her dad randomly decides, we think a student is being fed the magic and or the means to do this, like by a parent, which of course just like sets her up to be like, oh my God, so it's Logan. Except it's literally not, because in the end, we find out that the person creating the monsters is her by accident. How? We don't know! But also, they bring up the fact that it feels like the day in the forest when her mom and Logan's mom were attacked and something went wrong. Back at school, it says, I couldn't fully hate Logan. Why the hell did he have to be powerful, gorgeous, arrogant, and smart? Oh, and as an added bonus, The bastard was also tall. It was too much. The goddess wasn't supposed to give with both hands, though he could possibly be evil, which was a massive checkmark in the turn-off column. Cool. Good. Great. Oh wait, no, she's still at her parents' house and she finds a box in the attic. If you're wondering where this is gonna go, the answer is nowhere. She finds a box that is a bunch of letters written to her mom, Beth Hallistar, and then a bunch of pictures of her mom's mom, Gran, wearing a crystal necklace, or a bunch of crystal necklaces, which are also in the box, except one which her mom had already gifted to her. So she doesn't read these letters for some reason. She just takes the rest of the crystals out, keeps all the stuff, and then never reads the letters. She just keeps mentioning how she's going to read the letters. In fact, at one point she's like, I'm gonna read those letters over my school break. And I'm like, bitch, wouldn't it take you like 5? It's letters. Is it a book? Is it an 800-page tome of letters written by your nana? I think not. It's some letters. Sit down and knock it out in an hour. What are we doing? It's just an excuse to not do something so that we save it for the next book. But the problem is, I don't care. She decides that she's going to start stalking Logan to get information. She doesn't decide to read these letters that she's hung up on for some reason, but she does decide to start stalking Logan and said, from here on out, I'd be at the parties and behind the scenes however I could. Stockcaster was about to find himself with his very own stalker, Lucky Warlock. What? Like, first of all, it doesn't make sense, and it's also so childish. Her family is like, don't take this on alone. That's why we have family to support you. Just in like general, not the stalking stuff. So when they get back to school, of course, her friend Belle comes barreling at her, which I missed you. I missed you too. Great, good. Who are you again? Belle and her dad don't have a very good relationship, and it's hard for them to hold a conversation. And apparently on their long weekend, the only thing that they talked about was the magic covenant, which I don't know why this is getting brought up so late in the book, but okay. The covenant was an ancient set of rules. Here it's not capitalized, but before it was capitalized. Magic covenant, capitalized, and then it says, the covenant was an ancient set of rules blessed by the witches and warlocks of the 12th century. It had been amended and adjusted to modernize over the years, but the basic principles remain the same. What are they? I don't know. She tells her about her experience with her family over the long weekend, and Belle's like, your family sounds like a fucking dream. Hard to believe they're even real. We weren't perfect, but I'd fight the goddess herself for them. Enough. I get it. You love your family. I don't know them. Move on. I'm going to spend a little time keeping an eye on Logan. Her eyes snapped to me. You're going deep cupboard 007? Seduce that spellcaster, please. I'm gonna lose my mind. You're terrible, our main character says. So she's looking at the crystals that came from her grandma. There's an amethyst, there's a jade, there's a moonstone. My obsession with crystals might have more to do with my magic than I'd ever believed. Were there witches and warlocks out there who did use crystals to strengthen their affinity? Had Gran been one? If that was possibly true, why had I never heard of them before? And which affinity did they mainly fall under? Like, isn't this something that you could look up in a library? Or I don't know, ask somebody, anybody, help. So she's like, maybe the crystals can help me understand why my power is so locked away. They go to one of these spellcaster classes taught by, of course, student professor Logan. My traitorous hormones did a stupid flip at the sight of him. Kill me. Evil or not, the outside was perfection. Headmaster Gregor has asked me to add another class to explain how I destroyed the creature in the hallway. They're looking at him, and apparently he, like, I don't know, is now taking off his jacket or something. He's not wearing long sleeves, which, put him back on. Put on a sleep token shirt, long sleeve preferably. I just got this in the mail and I'm really happy about it. I love it. I love a fresh long sleeve. I love a fresh one. I keep upsetting Artemis with how loud I'm getting. I'm sorry. So they see that he has tattoos. Shocking. Same girl. I'm actually going to get this one finished up tonight. I don't want to stretch out my sleeves. Excuse the fuck out of me. He has tats too? Unfair. Ah! The amount of power that it required to banish that creature is more than most of you will ever know, but I'll explain the process to you. Just don't expect to survive an attack using this alone. So basically, he had injected enough power to literally disintegrate it, which they all find terrifying. He's very fuckable, Belle says. Guys, come on, he might be evil. Get some standards, our main character says. Our main character side-eyed whoever said that, since she was constantly talking about me taking a role in the old enemies to lovers trope. No. This is stupid writing. This is stupid. This is so juvenile. One of her friends, Sarah, said, I wouldn't take him home to meet the family, but I feel like he'd destroy me for all other warlocks. I'm gonna dry spell. Anyway, remember that plan that her friends were supposed to stick together? They don't. And she even says that they're terrible at sticking to the plan of keeping her safe by sticking together. And who bumps into her but Noah, her mortal enemy, Logan's best friend. What the fuck are you doing? Did you see another monster? Do you know anything about the monsters? Any idea who might be creating them? I know as much as you, Paisley. And it might be best if you don't wander the halls alone, especially not in Night Realm. Night Realm is where him and Logan live. Like, it's an area of the school. I'm sure it's called Night Realm for like a really cool reason and not just like for the same reason that Light Lark is called Light Lark. I just need to play something for you. Can you hear her purring? That's so cute. I'm ruining the collar of my brand new shirt. This is bullshit. Okay, I am back from lunch. We need to crack open number 2 and get back to work. All right, where we were. If you think she's just gonna say normal, chill things about Logan and Noah instead of stuff that sounds asinine, wrong again. Don't you wish? She watches Logan and Noah a lot because they had quite the bromance going on, even conversing in Italian, which generally ended in one of them getting punched. Logan and Noah are definitely Italian names. I'd learned they'd enjoyed the gym, working out for 2 hours every morning dressed in tanks and shorts. Oh, did they also do gym tan laundry? Great. She's also amazed at the sheer volume of ink on Logan's body. It also then says that a spellcaster is blessed by the goddess to use the energy of the world itself. I'm gonna be honest, I'm still unclear on what the fuck a spellcaster is. She's just amazed by Logan, saying he was disciplined, calculated, and appeared to consider every decision before he made it. Oh, so you know, the bare minimum of critical thinking. Good. She is following him around, not because she's actually looking for information, but at this point, she's just frustrated sexually and otherwise. This was a stupid as fuck plan and it wasn't working. She wants to access his room to know what he's up to, but, you know, can't. She goes to her room, falls asleep, drifts in and out of sleep, jerks awake, realizing that her hands, which were wrapped around the necklaces from her grandma, were glowing. Outside, in the hallway of her dorm room, there's a monster slinking around. The beast was nothing like the other 3, with antlers. Bambi? She notices that it's like flickering in and out of existence. She gets into a fight with it, and it maims her. She's pulling her body along the floor, leaving an impressive bloody slide that would get a serial killer hard. What? Why would you say that? So she has a deep wound, and this is the part where the beginning of the book is a flash forward to, where she's like, somehow pulls herself up by bloodied bootstraps and gets herself to whose doorway? Logan's. In the doorway stood my enemy, but tonight I needed him. He was the only warlock strong enough to stop this attack. His cold gaze traced over me, and the perfect face that haunted my dreams grew harder. She falls, his arms wrapped around her. He calls her precious. Who hurt you? He said. Logan Kingston pulled me closer, and I knew that this was the defining moment of my existence. Why? Why did you know that? What do you mean by that? I wondered if my enemy would hand me to the beast or save me. Time would reveal all, but it seemed I was out of that, for tonight at least. What? What is this writing? I hate it. Then it says, heat woke me first. What woke you second? Third? Fifth? Who's on first? Who's on second? Hands pressed to my side as power flooded into me with enough intensity. I wondered if he was planning on finishing the job. She's in a ton of pain. He tells her, precious, breathe through the pain.
Precious!
He's like, you wakened the monster. I killed it. She asks if she's dying. He says, your life has been in my hands for years and I'm not ready for it to end yet. Which is just like a cheap way to make it sound like, are they doing enemies to lovers? Does he want to kill her? No, he doesn't. I'm not ready for it to end yet. Like, I guess I should still question if he's gonna like kill her or not. Oh my God. Ah! This is why people are afraid of you. One of her crystals zaps him. He doesn't understand why, neither does she, obviously. What does she know? Zero, nada, nothing at all. We never learned what the hell that was about. Cool. She's actually been having sex dreams about him where they've been like touching each other, doing other stuff. And so he touches her in real life, and it says, in real life, we never touched like this, but in my dreams, he knew me intimately. I didn't know you had tattoos. Why would you, he said, because Dream Him didn't have tattoos. I tried to shake off the need flooding me, shake off the familiarity that had me wanting to lift my head and press my lips to him. What are you doing, Paisley? You're injured. They start making out. It's healing her. We both felt the heat of his power knitting my body back together. You want my power like this, precious? He asked. His power, him, every fucking part of the spellcaster. I need it. I admitted there was no way I should be this vulnerable with my enemy, but in this moment, I was base instinct and desperation. Trust me, the desperation is clear. What's not clear is, why is he your enemy? He's literally never done anything to you. He's literally just a guy! Logan and I were strangers, and yet he'd been in my mind for months. His power dissolved my underwear. He has huge hands. Who's shocked? Underwear is obviously dissolved from his power, so he goes south, and it says, he licked from my ass to the top of my pussy. I'm dead inside. It says there's relentless mouth f***ing, but then she does ride his face, which I always say point in the book's favor if a woman gets to ride a man's face. And after she's done, he immediately like fucks off of his own bed, like leaves his own bed, and he's like, your healing demanded extra energy from us both, and that's how it manifested, but you're healed now. Ouch, okay. He hands her his hoodie, which is like an ongoing theme where she gets a bunch of his hoodies. God, what is this, me at 16? Oh my God, I'm like totally wearing my boyfriend's hoodie. It was Carlos. I was dating Carlos at 16. I might still have it somewhere. It was a Vans hoodie. I was very attached to it, but I'm not 16 anymore. I'm 35, and this is stupid because I want world building. I don't care that you're owning a bunch of his hoodies. I lusted for the scent and power of this spellcaster, but I die before I let him know that. You just rid his face. You just rode his face. You rode his face. I think he knows. I think that something has given him the idea that maybe, in fact, you do lust for the scent and power of the spellcaster because you rode his face. Thank you. Good, good, good. Also, he has 3 or 4 guitars. I don't know how she can't decide whether or not it's 3 or 4. It's pretty simple. Is there 3 or is there an extra one or not? She's like, oh my God, is he a musician? I don't know. I don't know anything about you people. You are strangers to me, and yet I just found out that he can dissolve underwear and then you can ride his face. And then she blurts out, are you creating these monsters? Let's go back to you just rode his face. Oh, he might be creating the monsters that just killed me, which put me in this position, which now I need to refuel my power, which means I'm riding his face, and then what? 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 What do you mean? And also, you have no evidence that it would be him. Why do you think it's him? I don't get it. I'm not sure they're being created. They're called here. I read that there are monsters in one of the planes of existence, but it's the one that necros can't touch. How are they called here? And who would have the power to do that? Dad said it might be a parent feeding dark magic to their child. Your dad isn't who I'd go to for magic advice. We still don't know why by the end of the book, by the way. I don't know. Talking to her friends, they said, you guys went all enemies to lovers. Stop it. Stop that. It's not cute and funny. It's stupid. Belle says she's been talking to her dad about all of this, and he called her to talk about the monsters on campus, and she explained what's going on, and he said he would do extra research for us, and he would pass anything along he learned during Parents Weekend, because Parents Weekend is coming up, even though they could literally just portal to their parents at any time, but okay. But there are magical barriers around the school that will be easing up to allow a parent a chance to enter the school and observe their kids at Weatherstone. Is it just to keep parents out, or does it keep anybody out? Help me understand. Our main character, Paisley, is worried that her dad is going to pull her out of the school if he learns that she was attacked by another monster. And Logan's like, I'm not gonna let that happen. What sort of best friend would I be if I ratted you out? You're not my best friend. I'll ignore those hurtful words for now, but I expect an apology when your memories return. What the fuck was he talking about? And she doesn't ask. She doesn't ask, what the fuck are you talking about? She just is like, what the fuck is he talking about? Anyways, what? Don't ever tell me that your main character is smart if they don't ask the simplest questions out loud. Do you know how many times a day I turn to people and go, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, sometimes it's just because I'm not very smart, but you know what? At least I ask. Anyway, so he says that she's going to start training with him and Noah, which lasts for all of like a scene and doesn't do fuck all, so who knows? That's a huge deal, Paisley, her friend says. He's a spellcaster. They never train anyone. It's almost as if he's worried about you. And none of us have ever seen him sit with a witch in the dining hall. The rumors were wild while you were talking to him. And also, Logan just won Hottest Warlock this year. Oh my God. At Parents' Day, she notices that Belle's dad is sketchy. Now, how does she notice this? She just looks into his eyes and thinks, he's sketchy. He stared in a way that was both assessing and absolutely judgmental. With pale skin and sharp features, he didn't look like his daughter. Oh, so he looks creepy physically and also stares in a way that is judgmental. Her mom meets this guy, Elder Monroe. I've never been a fan of that man. He's cold and calculating, and some of the rulings under his watch are downright cruel. So now she wishes that Belle had never talked to him about the monster issue because he was clearly making judgments. Once again, her family members are doing the thing where they're like, no matter where we are in the world, we need to make the effort to be together. You have Portals! You can! I'm delighted to tell you that it's not a problem, so you can stop fucking talking about it. I hope we do this until we're old and gray. I don't want to lose this feeling, one of her sisters said while crying. You have portals! This is just the beginning of your journeys, kiddos. There are so many wonderful new memories to make. We're an emotional bunch, caught up in the melancholy of these milestones and final experiences. The days that felt like the good old days, but were just stepping stones to the future. You have portals. You'll be together for a very long time and lose out on basically no time together because portals that your dad can open. I marveled at the perfection of the day we had, only to wake up the next day to an absolute shit show. So then she meets Belle's dad the next day, and he's a dick. Belle has told me a lot about you and the happenings around the college. He couldn't hate me more than he clearly already did. I don't know how we got here. Don't ask. She said you might have some insights for us. I got strong shark vibes, she says of him. Cool. You should be reading The Reapers of Purgatory and then investigate the witch massacres of 1859. This asshole was almost at Logan's level of threatening me without uttering one threatening word. Good, let's use threatening twice in one sentence. It also hadn't slipped my attention that he'd said nice to put a face to the name and not nice to meet you. Oh, I'm glad it didn't slip your attention. I wonder why it slipped your attention to ask Logan about your missing memories. Care to share? The only way to protect yourself is through the death of the witch involved. You need to cut her head off to ensure she's not able to practice her dark magic. You keep saying witch. It's always a witch. Learn your history, young lady. Or I might think you're at Weatherstone due to a certain professor and not your own abilities. At this point, I was like, Logan the professor? Oh no, her dad. Her dad's a professor. I forgot about that. Dad, she's the victim here, and we don't victim shame, Belle says. Logan and her meet up to do training, and he says, nice of you to join us, precious. Oh, wait, no. They're not meeting for training. That's right. She meets his dad, who hates her, if you recall. Logan had fire in his power, but his father was all icy darkness. A void of warmth, obliterating everything in his path. He reminded me of the monsters we'd seen in that text with the shadowy aura over them. I forget what text. The Spellcaster was dark, his calculating manipulations under a cloak of civility. Only the jury was still out on Logan and how truly dark he was. Why? Does she think any of this? I don't know. Nobody's even fucking said anything. Her parents and Logan's dad get into an argument. Raphael, Logan's dad, says, how are you, Beth, still ignoring your magic? We all lost Isabel that day, her dad says. She was my wife. She was taken from me. I have never bought your innocent act regarding Beth's magic, and your daughter is neck deep in a situation where another was torn to pieces. I don't believe in coincidences. Her dad says, the blood oath clued me in on the lack of forgiveness, Raph. We just want to be left alone. So her parents leave. Logan's dad leaves. At night, she wishes that she could sneak off to the phones because they have landlines to call mom and check on her. But along with a blanket on her energy, there was also a curfew in the halls at night, so she can't make phone calls in the night. Cool. A 22-year-old can't call her mother in the middle of the night in 2025 in the United States. That makes sense. That makes sense. Is this prison or which college? So she wakes up, looks out her window, and sees monsters like slipping in and out of the forest on the school grounds. There were too many. Despite my fears and misgivings about him, instinct had still sent me straight for Logan. It bothers her that he had cleaned up the blood of hers that was on his door. I don't know why. He's dressed in a pair of pajama pants, just pants. Holy fucking goddess, the ink. His ink was everywhere. Aw, you made him ink. This was no time to be devouring the broadest expanse of bronze. This isn't a white man? Bronze skin, marked with an array of darkly enticing tattoos. The few images I could see spoke of a true artist's hands. The few images, blah, blah, blah. A soaring raven across his right shoulder. He says he's not wearing underwear. Cool. She's like, there's monsters surrounding the school. He says there's a blanket over the school. There's no way that that's possible. And she's like, no, I felt that the blanket had gone down for a second. I felt that pulse against my magic. There's dozens of monsters outside my window. I'll show you in my room. And he doesn't see anything. And she notices that the monsters outside her window are all gone. If you wanted to take me to your dorm to finish what we started the other night, you only had to ask, precious. No need to make up stories. I was starting to hate the word precious. No, not as much as me. Not as much as me. I would never pretend there were monsters to get your attention. It might come as a surprise to you, hottest warlock of the year, but I don't want your attention. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. That's not what you said when my tongue was buried in your... So she's thinking that somebody must have wanted her to think that she was seeing monsters. He tells her, hey, we're going to start working and training in the morning, so be prepared. We learned a little bit about the origins of the like necromancers who created the school, but as far as I can tell, it's completely irrelevant to this book, so I don't care. I will say that I'm a little confused about, like, since this is set in the United States, like what, since the land and the magic have to do with each other, like where the indigenous people fall into all this, because this seems to all be like settlers using magic, but okay. So she notices that the only way that her power can work is if another spellcaster, Logan, his friend Noah, is like boosting her power. He was a stranger, and yet our energies worked together as if we were the best friends he ironically called us. Were we still enemies? I had no idea. We certainly weren't friends, but maybe we'd evolved into friendly enemies? Maybe I'll evolve into someone who can read this book without getting a migraine. She then has a dream about having sex with him, and she ends up waking up and then going to his dorm room, and he's like, how are you in my dreams? And they realize that they're both having sex dreams with each other at the same time, like recently. So clearly there's some sort of connection in here between them, but it doesn't get explained in this book. It must have to do with her missing memories, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to learn about it in this book. Great. So they're making out, and then he goes down on her. It says he's lapping up her orgasm, which is quite a sentence. She's like, is he going to finish me off, like, you know, in a spicy way, not in a death way, and then leave again like he did last time? Turns out, no. He asks, are you spelled against pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases? Turns out they both are. Great. That works out nicely. I wasn't a virgin, but Logan's size didn't just thrust easily. She says that having spicy time with him is addictive, which is a word that I hate. He asks her, are you ready, precious, before he goes at it. He says, say it. She says, me, Logan. And then they have the best sex ever, and all they're doing is she's on top. Wow, revolutionary. Why are you haunting my dreams, Paisley Houster? I don't know. I wondered if all along the dreams had been trying to bring us together to drive us out of our minds with months of sexual frustration and need. When she wakes up in the morning, she's all by herself. The night our dreams drove us together, Logan and I had fallen into a weird relationship. Oh, it was weird before. There had been no repeat of the best sex of my life, but he watched me closer now with this fire burning in the icy green depths of his eyes. Whether that fire was need or hate, I couldn't really tell. You keep writing his face. I don't think he hates you. My God, he's never even done anything to you. Now I wish he would, just so we'd have some reason for you to feel this way. My power had grown under his, and I could do much more now than call the elements. Animals came to me in the forest. When we got close to the graveyard, I felt layers of darkness. If I could just figure out a way to use the crystals to enhance the power I already had, maybe I could unlock my magic without Logan. Now it's the Blue Harvest Moon Festival. We just keep having a bunch of festivals that amount to like fuck all. Under the blue moon, we would bathe in her power and renew our own. And then it says that her friend who reads, who's apparently named Haley, I was on a plane reading this several times. I took a lot of flights recently. It was horrible. I read this part to Natalie, and we talked about this for 25 minutes on an airplane from New York because the sentence is just so stupid. Haley was in her paperback era at the moment, deciding she needed the scent of a real book. So first of all, I just hate the use of paperback era. I just think it sounds stupid. Haley was in her paperback era at the moment. But then we get into Haley was in her paperback era at the moment. It's implied that it's at the moment, but also it's weird because like the tense feels funny. Haley was in her paperback era at the moment. I think maybe it would feel less weird to me if it had said at that point. But again, you don't have to say at the moment or at that point, because using the words Haley was implies that Haley was doing that at the time that we're talking about it. Deciding she needed the scent of a real book. Oh God, enough about the reading, enough. I'd read at least 30 paperbacks so far this year. I discovered a lot about myself at Weatherstone, but nothing more bizarre than my bestie turning me into a book witch. Oh, good. Fair warning, the sequel isn't out yet, says Haley, but it's about a fae and these powerful gods who, look, they do this thing with their tongues and have very interesting dicks. Anyway, I'm just gonna need you to read it so we can discuss. I need you to write world building so I can discuss. What about me? What about my needs? I took the proffered book, noting the pretty cover, the title in large typography with glittery symbols around. I don't care. I don't care about what this fictional book looks like that has nothing to do with the plot or the world building. No sequel yet, though, I said. Just read it, she snapped, before calming herself once more. Please, I laughed, unoffended. Her passion for books was one of my favorite parts of her personality. I don't know anything about her personality other than her passion for books, and I don't know why I should care. You got it, Hales. I'll get back to you with my thoughts soon. She won't. We were nearing the end of my favorite month, October. All Hallows Eve was around the corner, where we would not only party, but partake in a mass spelling throughout the school to raise our collective energies on the night when the veil between the living and the dead was the thinnest. In a school built by necromancers, it was highly celebrated and was graduation day for us all. I'm confused about it being called graduation because graduation I thought only implied that you ended school totally. Here it means you graduate to the next grade, but it also means you graduate and end schooling because like her siblings are about to graduate, and she's about to just graduate to sophomore year. I don't know. She is looking for the book that Belle's dad mentioned to her. She can't find it. She can't find anything helpful about the witch massacre that he referenced. They have questions and all the answers are vague and confusing. Oh my gosh, what a shock. They keep referring to it as one of the largest witch massacres in our history, witches killed by our kind. Allegedly, these witches were dabbling in magic they shouldn't have, and they referred to them as demon witches. She doesn't want Belle to talk to her dad about it, and yet she's gonna do it anyway. Why does she hate Belle's dad or think he's weird? I don't know. I guess a glint in his eye or something. She goes to a party and there's witch wine. Remember witch wine that is like extra wine that is a harder substance and makes them drunk when the witches can't normally because of metabolism. Like, are they the fucking Flash? Are they Barry Allen? I guess. But this isn't just regular witch wine. This is the bootleg version, her brother says. Very careful, little sis. Or be very careful. I think it's even more potent than the usual stuff. Bootlegged. Hey, that might explain the undercurrent of darkness I feel in it. Okay. I mean, are you sure it's not just like whiskey or what are we doing? She wants to talk to Logan, but he shakes his head at her, and I don't know why. Again, all of this is just preventing, like, all of this could be fixed with a conversation, and we just don't have it. That asshole didn't get to dictate when we talked or engaged in other activities. I wasn't his dirty little secret. No, nobody said that to you. Calm down. The witch wine had me braver and determined to get to the bottom of the Logan mystery. This chick could only handle so many mysteries in 1 year. Oh, I guess that explains why your brain just immediately threw out the information that he said you lost your memories. I guess you just forgot that. 2 hours later, she's on her third glass of witch wine, complaining about Logan. She's sloshed, Book's words, and there was only one person to blame for her being sloshed. Logan, the bastard. Who the fuck does he think he is? He thinks I'm just his booty witch. He thinks I'm just his booty witch. Booty witch! I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm sick of it. It will only happen at least 4 more times and then I'm done. Then Belle is super drunk and she's saying things like, youth perfect, he's perfect. What is this the issue here? Okay, cute. How dare he hurt our friend? We should hex him. Chill there, Etsy witch. Jesus Christ. Precious, you're always testing my limits, Logan says to her. Why do you hate me? Who said I hated you, best friend? He takes her to her room and the next morning it says, I was dying again, only this time the monster was me. Or my lack of restraint when it came to witch wine, to be more accurate. Ugh! Okay, moving on. We don't have time. She remembers that there was like a flash of red against the sky, maybe like an explosion or something. Logan carried her to the room. But actually there was like a huge, like a problem, like a fire. People were injured, the library was damaged, and someone reported their dad to the headmaster. And her siblings are all there telling her this. And she's like, could it have been Logan? Why would Logan take you home and then report your dad? I don't understand. I was freaking fuming at this point. If that asshole had been playing the long game all along, dad hadn't been the only one in charge that night. So their dad had known that they were consuming witch wine and had just like fucked off and said whatever. And now he's gonna be in trouble for that, which like, yeah, like if he fucked up, he fucked up. The other teachers who were there claimed that they were unaware, but since there were no complaints about them knowing, their word was taken. There are spells to determine whether or not somebody is telling the truth, but unless you had a court order, it wasn't enforceable. Those 3 probably allowed the truth spell, but dad wouldn't be able to for obvious reasons because, you know, he's lying. He did know about the witch wine. He's like, okay, they're like, okay, well, we'll go to the headmaster and say that there was no way for dad to know, except Paisley would be lying. And if she was put under the truth spell, she would be caught lying. This is stupid. So they go home. They talk to their mom and dad about this. And of course, their mom, it has to tell us that their mom is like the best homemaker. She makes the best salmon sushi from scratch. Don't forget. Mom shook her head. bustled around the kitchen filling cups for us, knowing each of our preferences for milk, cream, half and sugar. She knew I loved mine milky and sweet and piping hot. She knew us better than anyone in the world, and these little moments made me appreciate my family so much. Showing our love through kind gestures was part of the Hallister way, and with my hangover fading away with each sip of my perfect coffee, I gave thanks to the goddess for her blessings. I just want some world building. I don't care how you take your coffee. Ah! Dad's worked for the college for over 15 years. He's one of their most valuable dual elementals. The headmaster will no doubt call him in for a meeting on Monday, and we'll have more information. Who told them about the wine? I asked Dad. I have no idea. I should have put a stop to it. He wasn't even on duty at that point, Mom says, but he hadn't left for home yet. He felt the elemental surge and raced back to bring the fire under control. He saved the library. Mom and Dad never let their worries show, but I sensed deep down that they were putting on a show. Why did we say show twice? Editing where? Where is it? She decides to eavesdrop on her parents talking about this, and he's like, if we lose my job, then we can't afford the coven tithe. And I'm like, so you guys are paying a tithe every year? Isn't that kind of classist? Doesn't that mean that like witches without means have no coven? What's the effects of this? We just don't talk about it. I don't fucking know. There are many jobs available to those without covens. Oh, there aren't. There aren't many jobs available to those without covens, her dad says. Then we get jobs in the human world. I all but live as a human now, and I can do accountancy and crafting anywhere. I don't think there's much call for a teacher in the art of fire magic out in the human world. Why not? Why can't you sell like fire magic stuff to humans? Why can't you help like the literal fire department? Why can't you? Why not? What? And also, even if you can't teach like or do something with fire, can't you do teaching? Can't you still be a teacher? Did you not get a teaching degree as a witch? Did you just, you're just a fire elemental, so you're just like, okay, I'll teach fire magic. You can be a professor without a teaching degree? What are we doing? I don't understand any of this. None of this is explained. Tomorrow we'll contact the coven and get some legal advice from the lawyers. You can still do that even if you think you're not going to make your tithe? All right. All the covens required a sizable yearly tithe, which was used to keep facilities functioning. What do the facilities do? What is this, like the Moose Lodge people? The yearly contribution paid for protection. Like what? Employment opportunities. Like what? And a multitude of other benefits. Wait, so you have to pay to get employment opportunities? Not being able to pay the tithe meant you were removed from the coven. What happens if you like go broke or like you become disabled and you can't work to make money to pay your coven tithes? What happens then? This is a pay to play situation as a witch? I don't get it. They were all due in January, so we had to get this dealt with before the start of the new school year. Fucking great. When we returned to school for our last official week of college, she realizes, oh, I've forgotten to check Gran's letters. Wow, how incredibly convenient. She notices that Logan is doing elusive bullshit again. How incredibly convenient. She also notices that her training with Logan, the one scene that we got of it, has been helping her with her aptitude with like affinities. So her magic is getting better. She talks to a guy, Marcus, who came up like one time who I think they had maybe had a crush on each other, but of course he's not as hot as Logan, so he's out. He's a spellcaster, and one of the other professors is like, hey, Marcus, I want you to shadow Paisley and report on what you notice about her spellcasting affinity because we think she might be a spellcaster. It felt weird to be assessed by a fellow first year, but if he didn't do it, then they're gonna ask Logan, and she doesn't want to. Well, it says, I needed to talk to him, but I didn't want to see him more than that. Liar. Shut up, inner voice, you horny bitch. Oh, I don't want any more of this. She goes to speak to the headmaster about her dad, and he says, well, there's really nothing I can do. The person who reported you also believes that your entire family is dangerous, which I think is ridiculous. And then he asks, is there any further issues with monsters in the college? And she says, not since the blanket was erected. And he's like, yeah, well, that blanket is, the elders believe that it's not in the school's best interest to keep it up. Translation, students' lives weren't worth more than the reputation of the college. Reputation to whom? What's the damage? Whose perception is being altered? I don't understand. She sees Logan again and she says, I itch to roll up his sleeves to reveal that glorious ink. Oh God, I'm gonna wear long sleeves for the rest of my life if people start doing this shit to me. Logan is annoyed that Marcus got asked to help her be shadowed and report on her affinity. And they're at the lake and she is like, I need a boost in my power in order for it to work. And Marcus is like, how do you boost your power? And Logan shows up and he's like this. And he holds her around the waist and then they boost her power. She almost makes a tsunami. Book's words, tsunami. And him and Marcus have to like tamper it down. Marcus says that he can sense Logan's power and he seems like really dangerous and that she should stay away from him. She gets mad at Logan saying, you're controlling and manipulating my life. I can't tell if it's to help me or make everything much worse. When have I ever made your life worse, best friend? Deflection, she thinks. Why have you been helping me when your father made it clear that my family is scum? When your father got mine suspended from school and on his way to being fired. He's like, that wasn't my dad, and there's always only been one end game for us. The journey might vary, but the end will never fucking change. Our end game was written when you were 4. And then it says, he knew more than he was telling. No! What clued you in? You could, I don't know, ask. You could ask right now. If you had a phone, you could text him and ask, but you don't have phones. Why again? She talks to Belle, and Belle's like, I'm gonna put in a good word with my dad about your dad. But she thinks that her dad is shady for whatever reason. And meanwhile, Belle's like, it finally feels like I have a real father again. He's paying attention to me. And Paisley's like, every alarm bell is going off in my brain. I need to figure out what his endgame was, as much as I hated that word tonight. Oh, brother. I had some goals when we returned home after graduation. I'd be getting a job to help financially until sophomore year started. I was going to read those letters from Gran, and I would find that book Elder Monroe, Belle's dad, mentioned. I had just over 2 months to get it all done. You need 2 months to figure out how to read some letters from your grandma? What? And she thinks, Logan's not really interested in me. I'm a riddle that he must solve. Once he does, he'll lose all interest. He's never given you the impression that you are like a riddle to him. What are we talking about? Our endgame was written when you were 4. Those words were on repeat in my head, but I wouldn't let them sway me. How can they sway you when you don't know what they mean, bitch? I don't understand. Dad told me that spellcasters can feel power, but they can't connect to each other. Belle said, he's been raving on about the spellcasters lately. There's some dissension in the European ranks. There's European ranks of witches? What? How does that work? And why are the witches in charge? They have power and the humans don't. Oh, I have so many questions. They're worried they're planning on rising up, which could spill over here, but they can't all connect their power up. I don't know what's happening with Logan and Paisley, but it's not spellcasters connecting. If spellcasters rose up against the magical community, it would be bad. In what way? Can we elaborate, please, for the love of God? All right, her dad has given his side of the story to the headmaster and the school. They were talking about enforcing a truth spell, which isn't allowed in informal investigations, so I guess they're thinking about doing formal investigations on her dad, which again, he did in fact fuck up because he did know that there was witch wine going on, but okay. I feel like we could have made up a different problem in order to create like an issue for her parents that, you know, actually like wasn't her dad fucking up, but sure, I guess. She talks to Logan's friend Noah, and he warns her, hey, you should stay away from Logan's dad, Raphael. He's like, okay, she says, okay, well, what about Logan himself? Depends on your definition of safe. And he tells her once again to get out of Night Realm, the area that him and Logan are set up to sleep in. Anyway, the guy Marcus that was like tailing her for, you know, the professor to report on her spellcasting stuff says, I just wanted to warlock up and tell you that I think you're fucking awesome. Beautiful, powerful, and kind. And if you ever want to hang out again and give this a real shot, let me know. She's like, so much time had passed. That flicker died out. And I'm like, I don't even remember who this guy is. What do you mean so much time has passed? She says, also there's stuff going on with my dad. And he says, if you need help with that, Paisley, well, I have some friends who might be of assistance. She says, I'm wondering what sort of friends he meant. I don't know, Paisley, maybe ask. If you have a question about something that somebody says when they are directly in front of you, why don't you ask the question? So then she has to go through her testing. It says that she is showing an aptitude for spellcasting, but have energy that is reluctant to release without a little prompting. So they take her, but they don't talk about the fact that she has a small affinity for necromancy, which should be antithetical to the fact that she's a spellcaster. I don't fucking know. It says that she has to do like a flame test, and there's a like type of like eternal flame, right? So it says the color of the flame gave it away. Unless extinguished with magic, it would remain a light forever. They were rare and expensive, though Weatherstone could clearly afford them. Now, my first question is, where do they come from if they're expensive? Like, who's paying for them, right? Her dad manipulates fire. Isn't this something that he could do for humans, sell it to humans, and then, you know, make money off of that? Then he could still pay his coven fees. I don't know. She has to do a water test where like she's like submerged like Isla Fisher in that one movie where she was like actively actually trying to get out. And there is an escape button that she can push if she needs to, but I couldn't witch out like that, not in the middle of an assessment. So witch is used in the derogatory here. They pass freshman year. They talk about her and her friends are like, we should meet up somewhere. We'll be back in the land of technology and phone reception too. So text me every freaking day. They talk about how they need to get jobs, and she has to tell her friend, why don't you get a job at a bookstore? And her friend's like, oh my God, it's a great idea. I hang out at my local bookstore all the time. Then why didn't you come up with it? You needed Paisley's help? Paisley? And Paisley Kimberly thinks, as a former derby girl on the weekends, I could never resist a good skate session, so maybe she's gonna get a job at the roller rink. And I'm like, since fucking when are you a derby girl? So I looked up the word derby in the audio in the ebook. I got the ebook from the library and I was like, where'd she mention this? Never! She never mentioned it. Tonight was Halloween, and while we didn't partake in human traditions of dressing in costumes and collecting candy, we'd still gone for a darker, more dramatic makeup effect. We were witches after all. No more brooms or pointed hats. But there was a sexy darkness to this night all the same. Okay, sure. So they're going to graduation. 2 of her siblings, at least 2 of them, are graduating for good. Graduating their entire program, it says. And she asks, it says, can't believe how quickly this year flew by. Bitch, me neither. She tells Logan, hey, this is our last opportunity to talk. Can we meet after dinner? And he's like, sure, meet me in the graveyard. Bitch, why would you agree to that? They do the graduation ceremony and all of them are like communing with the moon or whatever, and they, get more power. My energy was refreshed and renewed and lighter. You could just drink a Monster. And then it says, our kind existed, this is like 95% of the book. Our kind existed within the human world, and while they knew about witches, they believed them to be witches who studied our ancient magic, which, as one would expect, led to situations where the crossover of our worlds got us into trouble. What? So humans think that witches are humans who studied ancient witch magic? So they just don't believe that being a witch is genetic? Is that it? And also, what situations, as one would expect, led to situations where the crossover of our worlds got us into trouble? I don't know what that means. Don't your politicians know that you guys are like actual witches? And doesn't magic interfere with like the politics of the world? Like if in the United States right now, if witches were a thing and there were powers, like that would get exploited immediately. It was downright outlawed to induct humans into our way of life unless you married one and bound them with a secrecy spell. So it's a secret that witches are genetic and not just people make. So do they not know about the portals? How much do humans know? I should know this by now. I mean, this like should have been explained deeply in the book, especially if like there's, the stuff with the European witches like crossing over, like how are the humans not going to get caught up in that? And like I understand how it's explained in like other middle grade certain books written by somebody who I don't want to talk about on here anymore. But I'm able to explain away stuff in middle grade books in a way that I'm not able to do that in an adult book. Like you should be explaining it in an adult book. So the protection blanket is going to come down and she's worried about the monsters. She goes to talk to Logan in a fucking graveyard. She's like, I need to know if he's involved with my dad's suspension. Oh, also her fucking friends have a random conversation on the way to this conversation with Logan about how they should all be able to choose familiars and one of them would choose a dolphin. I don't care. She talks to Logan. He says, I'm a legacy here at Weatherstone. My great-great-grandfather is buried in this ceremony. She asks him, why did you come here now and not come here as a freshman? You think anything in my life is a choice. I'm the dutiful son, born to tragedy and no doubt will die the same way. What does your father want me to do with me? Destroy you, precious. You should know that. I took a step back. You're safe tonight. What do you want to ask me? Did your dad get mine suspended? He did not. He's pretty upset that it wasn't his doing. I think you'll find the culprit for that is a little closer to home. Someone told their daddy about the party. And she's like, oh, it must be Belle. We don't know because this book is about to end and we get no answers for anything at all. Any question that you have is not going to get answered, which is stupid. He's like, oh, she's asking, what ties you and me together? And he's like, you don't remember anything. You don't remember what it is that ties us together. I remember falling in the rain when we were kids. And he says, do you remember the Sarah Moat? And then he gets cut off. A scraping sound cuts him off. Monsters start popping up into view. She's like, you're creating them again. Why would he create them in the middle of a sentence that he was asking you a question? You're so stupid. And also, have him finish a sentence about the memories, about a ceremony. Have him finish a sentence. So he's not freaking out. He's just staring at her while more and more monsters are popping up. And she's like, don't you see them? And he says, I think it's you. I think you're doing this. And there I went, jabbing my finger in his face. With each jab, another beast appeared. Every time she goes like this to him, another monster pops up, which is so stupid. Bing, bing, bing. It's just little fucking weird ass, praying mantis ass looking shit. With each jab, another beast appeared until we were surrounded, completely surrounded by monsters. Surrounded used within one word of each other. And I was forced to acknowledge that the only enemy I faced here tonight was myself. I'd been the one calling the monsters with my energy. Then he uses air to shoot them both up in the air, away from the monsters, which sounds so ridiculous. Use your energy, Paisley. Send them away. So he draws on her energy, which is supposed to be impossible for them to connect or steal power. No. What? unless she freely gives it to them, that another spellcaster can't use. I don't know. None of this is explained. It doesn't make sense. So he uses her power in his connected to send out a wave disintegrating the creatures. Then back on the ground, her mom appears. What were you doing with the monsters, Mom? You called me, sweetheart. It was as if she'd been pulled from bed into this spot. She even wore flannel pajamas, of course. She looks at her daughter and says, we have a lot to talk about. And Logan murmurs the word demon witch. Demon witch. I knew that term. Bitch, get real. You stay away from my daughter. Paisley belongs to me. You know that, and I'll kill anyone who takes her from me. Give me the rest of the year, her mom says. Please, she needs to learn before they come for her. I'll give you 1 month and then I'm coming for you, precious.
Precious!
What the fuck is happening and why should I care? I'll explain everything, Paisley. She drags her through a portal back to their house in goddamn Washington. Paisley, I need to tell you everything. And her dad interrupts and says, not tonight, Beth, you're tired. This had no reason not to be told to Paisley and the reader at the fucking beginning of the book. No reason whatsoever. There was no reason to keep this from us. It's just making it last longer for the sake of it. So he then hands her the book that Belle's dad told her to read, The Reapers of Purgatory. Read it first and then in the morning we'll talk. So she's supposed to read a whole fucking book tonight, but she would have taken 2 months to read letters from her grandma, which she's not going to read. The book's about to end? Ah! Okay, we'll discuss everything in the morning, but from here on out, no more secrets or lies, no more. It was clear that this year wasn't done with me yet, and neither was Logan Kingston. I needed to know about demon witches and the monsters they called. The end. Yeah, that's right. The end. No, you heard me. We have done zero work to cultivate a book that actually feels like something I'd be interested in, like a world that I understand, and I should have the barest minimum understanding of how humans and witches are interacting with each other in this world. I should have a better understanding of this massive family. I should know more about Logan. Why should I care about the romance, the politics of witches? Because you haven't given me anything. You've given me nothing. I'm starving. This is pointless. It was written so juvenile. Apparently this author has another series that's actually like middle grade, and it got turned into a TV show. Somebody messaged me and they were like, oh, I think that's an author. And I was like, no, surely not. Surely this is a debut. Surely this isn't a person who's written other books and had them edited and published. Nope. Wrong. It is. How incredibly disappointing. Can you imagine paying for like a sprayed edges edition of this? Like if I had paid for this, I would be livid. I am so disappointed. I mean, this was so pointless. There's nothing in here. Like it's not even like fun trash. It's nothing fun happened in here. Have you ever been to a restaurant and on the outside of the restaurant is like how the food is supposed to look, but you can't just pick up that dish and eat it. It's fake. It's supposed to entice you, but if you were to actually eat that, it's like wax. It's cardboard. It's disgusting. It's not real food. That's how this feels. It's a disappointment. It masqueraded as a book and it turned it out. You open it, nothing. There's nothing. Did you sneeze? You got the achoo's? Cutie patootie. There's nothing in here. I'm starving. I think I've said it all. I mean, this is just a juvenile nonsense. This is going on my worst of the year. I cannot believe. Okay, I have nothing else to say. I'm done. I'm cooked. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments and questions down below. If you made it this far, you can leave a witch emoji in the comments below. Thank you again, and I will see you next time. I'm going to go read a better book. Okay. All right. See you next time. Bye. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons. I will say that these no longer show up on Patreon in alphabetical order, so sorry about that. And those thank yous go to Lex, SJ, Eric, Peggy Lou, Quinn, Rain, Scarlett, John E, Alexander, Samar, Ashley H, DJ Rocktopus, Kaleno K, Emerald Dodge, Ellie, Minby, Steph B, Lemon Jelly, Mixer Boneless, Lily, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Call Me Kodiak, Ree Mirage, Katya, Melissa, Kai Brecker has not read 6 of Crows, Lex, Megwin, Maddie Miss, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Jory, Piloting SRN, Bex, Fox Waifu, Charlie Bear, Ricky Strong. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. And a quick thank you to my Potato Starch Marxists, Evie, Carlin, Paige P, Sean, Sarah the Bear, Jill, Talia, Corwin, Andy Mations, Darren, Tito Phoenix, Might Be a Magpie, Martin, Artie the Ninth, Hannah C, Shamed, Ava, Malara, Rachel B, Rebecca, Baywing, Amanda, Lustful Octopus, Lady Kittybug, Angelica, Jenny G, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, Laughing Cat Dog, Dorothea supports public education, Nicole G, Colleen, Sarah H, Sheen Onion, Fox Club, Danielle M, Kendra, Sakoria, Kayala, Sadie Selby, Bookish Rabbit, Caitlin M, Rosie Thorns, Penny Chilling, Katie L, Lou Siri, Aaron with 2 E's, Jen Michelle, LP, Jojo Bookish, Jessa Sue, Lazarus Ray, Casper, Genderqueer, Jelly V, Lauren G, Man Eating Plant, Kate W, Sakia Lume, Lindsay M, Gadarn, Dilf Enthusiast, KMTV, Kaylee Carpenter, Alejandra, Desiree Michelle, Darius, Triple M, Saintbringer, Bookish B, Bookish by Jenna, Althea, Megan, Francis, Kate B, Plague Carrier, Jackalope Max, Queen Cereal, Pondemonium, Mata Raptor, Rosemary K, Drive By Thinker, Juicy Wizard, Sophie L, Barry B, I Like My Women Like I Like My Books Thick, Mima Who, Katrina, Unicorn Jenny, That One Cute Chick, Hurry Sing, Myth Lesbian, This Is Not a Trap, Laura is Angry, Rhea Slagle, Morgan, Celeste, Macy Jane, Aaron S, Danita M, Cosmic Frog, Jesse, Rach, Kayla Alexander Kenny, Ren, Natural Blues, NM Rap, Che, Jing, Catuary, Taz, Miss Fox and Arda, Mac, Junie for Now, Gabby Z, T Foxbones, Pi, Adian, Mia, Fishy Fish, Chloe M, Luke has sleep token brain rot, hell yeah. Kath, Kellen R, Blubbles the Fish, Cass Plays, Jesse M. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend.